Hello, everybody. Good to be with you as always. A lot of us believe that one day we'll be ready, but we're not ready now. And I want to suggest to you that you might be far more ready to live your highest life than you believe. When people sign up for my coaching program, one of the questions we ask them is, what fears or concerns do you have about becoming a coach? A lot of them say, oh, why would anybody want to be coached by me and who would pay me? And I'm not ready. I say, well, the program will get you ready. However, there has to be something inside you that knows that you're already enough. So there's really two places we can come from in life. One is, I'm not enough. And one day, if I do A, B, C, D, and Z, 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 I'll become enough. And the other says, I am enough. And when we proceed from wholeness, our experience is entirely different than when we proceed from lack. Now, this happens very often in relationships because we tend to believe that I'm kind of broken or there's something wrong with me. I have this gap or this flaw. And if I just find the right person, then I can fill in that gap and I will become whole. And you remember that line from Jerry Maguire, you complete me. Well, it's nice romantically, but it doesn't work that way realistically because no one can complete you because you're already complete. And I often say that relationships, we think, well, I'm one half and I will add plus one half and then we'll be one. So I'm kind of broken, the other person's kind of broken, and we'll fill in the jigsaw pieces and then we'll make a whole person. But if you've ever tried that, it doesn't work because relationships are multiplicative, not additive. So one half times one half equals one quarter. So when two people who believe they're empty and the other person will fill them in come together, you actually become emptier because whatever you bring to a relationship, you magnify. So if you bring loneliness to a relationship and hope the other person will offset your loneliness, you'll only feel more lonely in the relationship because that's what you brought to it. And nobody's going to save you. They're going to magnify what's already within you. And nothing could be more frustrating than sleeping in bed next to somebody and feeling distant from them because you have not healed the part of you that wants to be connected and is connected and knows how to connect. I read a study once by an accountant who explored the lives of lottery winners. And he wanted to see what happened after people won the lottery. Well, as you probably know, it's no walk in the park because a lot of people have even more problems after they win the lottery. They get depressed, they drink, they have divorces, they're fighting with people over money. Some actually commit suicide. And what this accountant discovered was that the people who were happy before they won the lottery were happy after they won the lottery. And the people who were unhappy before they won the lottery were also unhappy afterwards. So the outer experience of an influx of huge amount of money, while it gave them an initial rush, they did not really solve the problem of unhappiness that they were walking around with. And when an intense experience comes, it exaggerates what's going on inside of you. So if you have love and confidence and connection, you can have a challenging experience come, and it actually intensifies the love because when you have to dig inside yourself to deal with that challenge, you become stronger. And of course, this is the gift of challenging experiences. It forces you to look within and draw upon your deep internal resources to handle the challenge. So that's why I say every minus is half a plus waiting for a stroke of vertical awareness. You've heard me say this before. And so, what if everything that comes up in the world is an invitation to affirm our wholeness? Now, a lot of you are Course in Miracles students, and the Course in Miracles has a very interesting definition of forgiveness. This is my languaging, but it's accurate. That to forgive something is to undo the idea that it has power over you. So somebody apparently hurts you, you have given them power over your life. And when you say, I forgive you, what you're really saying is, I release you from my belief that you can take away my happiness. And anytime that we allow something in the outer world to make us happy or unhappy, we are giving our power away. And what we're saying essentially is, I am not enough as I am. I'm not strong enough. I'm not whole enough. So when you come along and do something that bugs me, you disturb my enoughness. But really, in the big picture, nothing outside you can disturb your enoughness, because your enoughness is hardwired. That your enoughness was given to you by God from day one, before you were even born. But then the world tends to encroach and tell us what's wrong with us. A friend of mine said that her little boy came home from his first day of kindergarten crying. Well, what happened? Well, the teacher gave out a coloring pad and there was a picture of a clown. And I colored my clown's nose green. And she came by and said, Johnny, that's not right. Everybody knows that a clown's nose is red. So on day one of school, this kid was invalidated. There was something wrong with me because I want a green nose on a clown. And that's just the beginning. As you know, a lot of what we call education is really regimentation, where it's not encouraging kids to be creative. And the word educare, education, comes from the Latin educare, which means to draw forth from within. But a lot of what we call education is really pounding in from without. And that's why people can have many, many years of education and they still don't feel happy or creative, because very few of their thoughts are their own, that they've learned to regurgitate and say what the professor wants to hear, but they haven't really tapped into their own resource of creativity. Three of the most successful men in the world never finished college: Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Larry, forget his last name, from Oracle. These guys, Gates dropped out, and Steve Jobs wanted to go study philosophy, and he just started to develop scalable fonts. That was the beginning of Apple. And the other guy started Oracle. And so these guys did not finish traditional education, but they did educare. They drew forth within the gifts that they wanted to share, and they all became world change agents because they were coming from enoughness. And I might even have a better idea than what my professor said. And they our lives are different because of all of them. And I want to suggest that you too have something inside you that's so enough that it has to spill over and positively uplift other people's lives. So what we want to do is reverse that paradigm of, I'm not enough, and if I just have one more degree and meet this one more person and get this one more salary increase, then I'll be enough. We want to reverse that and have you come from your own internal empowerment, such that everything you do turns to enough. One of my friends is a very wealthy woman, and she has many successful businesses, and everything she touches turns to gold. And a number of years ago, Oprah Winfrey was having a weekend women's prosperity weekend seminar. And you're supposed to write Oprah a letter and tell her why you deserve this. And I'll say there were like 50 people in attendance, and like 46 or 48 people got in because of their letter. And then there was a small group that was given by lottery. And my friend was one of the 2 or 3 people picked from lottery to attend Oprah's weekend. Now you might say, well, it's not fair because she's already wealthy. However, her wealth consciousness attracted the success. You understand? Because she was already wealthy in her mind, which is what made her have wealthy businesses, attracted her to a free weekend with Oprah. So I wonder if we could all just begin to examine which of our actions are coming from not enoughness and which are coming from enoughness. We're back to fear and love, aren't we? And if you can do a very honest, as I say in 12 steps, a fearless and searching self-inventory, where you're really honest that, I entered into that relationship feeling not enough, and that's why that relationship didn't work. And then I have this friendship where I feel enough, and it does work. Well, is there a message here? And the message is quite simple. When you know that you're whole and you have no gaps and no inherent emptinesses, then your life changes for the better, because everything you see reflects the consciousness you're bringing to it. So a half consciousness reveals a world of halfness, and you start to see emptiness in everybody. A whole consciousness represents a world of wholeness in which you start to see other people as whole too. Now, this is the other gift that comes, because when you know that you're whole, you start to recognize the inherent beauty and majesty and wonder in the people around you. And you don't need to fix your husband, because you know you're whole and you know he's whole. So now 1 times 1 equals 1. Wholeness multiplied with wholeness, and actually it equals even greater wholeness, because there's a magic that happens when 2 people come together who know that they're filled. It doesn't mean you shouldn't date or try and meet people. That's all fine. But it's the it's the energy you bring to the date that determines the result of the date. If you're waiting for the date to make or break, you're going to be waiting a long, long time. I know people, one woman, she had like, she went on some online service and she had like 20 dates in 1 week. She had lunch with one guy, a different guy every day, and dinner with a different guy, and coffee with a different guy. And she said, I don't like any of them. Well, she could have 100 dates. And until she brings a whole self that's not needy of somebody, she's going to keep finding people who are flawed. And so the message here is you're not flawed. Yeah, we have our human personalities. Yeah, we have ups and downs. Yeah, we have stuff we can work on, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's all fine. That's the storyline. But behind the storyline is what I call the glory line, which means that even while you're doing the human dance, there's divine dance that entirely supersedes the human dance. And the divine dance is going on even while the human dance is going on. Don't wait for the human dance to be finished before you allow the divine dance to come forth. It's only in allowing the divine dance to come forth that the human dance takes on meaning and value and beauty, and it makes perfect sense. So are you enough? Absolutely. Can you come from enough? Absolutely. Is there anything you need to do to fix yourself? Absolutely not. Get out of the fixing game. In fact, of all these videos that I've done over the past couple of years, one of the most popular one, perhaps the most popular one, was quit working on yourself. And people love the idea of getting off of the hamster wheel of more courses and more seminars and more gurus and more dates and more investments. And they love just getting back to, well, if I'm enough as I am, that would change my entire life. So what if today's lecture planted a seed within you that changed your entire life? And from now on, you came from enoughness, and therefore everything you found in yourself and around you became absolutely, totally, divinely sufficient. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click the little bell that gives you notifications, so when I post a new video, you'll get a notification. Love you lots. Have a great week. Take care.